friends and fellow travelers, and thank you for joining me on this 2020 no-buy journey. So this is the third week of my 2020 no-buy and of the challenge I gave myself at the beginning of my 2020 no-buy to use one palette per week, and each week would focus on one of my 7 Pat McGrath palettes. This week I'll be reporting on the Mothership II Sublime, which I used all last week. And now that I'm about halfway through the challenge, I kind of wanted to take a little bit of time to reflect on some of the things I've already learned during these first 3 weeks. Now, when I started this challenge, I was just trying to think of something fun to do to kick off my no-buy that would be easily attainable and that wouldn't put too much stress on me. I know myself, and if I start out with something extremely difficult, I would probably fail. So I just wanted to set myself up for success, and I thought that using my Pat McGrath palettes would do that. I never really used my Pat McGrath palettes for everyday looks, and I felt like they were just kind of wasting away as just pieces of art on my vanity. Now I realize that one of the things that I was very scared of starting this no-buy journey was the next Mothership release. I thought about that a lot happening, and I thought, am I going to be able to resist that? Is that what's going to be causing me to fail on this no-buy? Is that next Pat McGrath Mothership release? The Mothership, for some reason, has a tractor beam in my heart and in my soul, and for some reason, even though I don't use them regularly, like, I can't say no to those. And I learned my lesson on that right before my new no-buy started, when the Pat McGrath Dark Galaxy Duo palettes, those Star Wars palettes, dropped, and I happened to be on the website and there were some available, and I just bought them without even thinking about it. It was such an impulse buy. Like, it was maybe a week before my no-buy, 2 weeks before my no-buy started, and that scared me. That really scared me. So in last week's video, I had just finished using the Galactic Gold palette, one of those impulse buys that put the fear of the no-buy gods in my heart. Last week I posed a question to myself, kind of candidly, would I still buy that palette given the chance? And I really didn't know how to answer that in my video. And I thought about it. I thought about it a lot. And the answer to that question right now is no. I think that if I had the chance to buy that palette again, I would do the same thing, the same exact thing. So my hope is that by the time I get through the one palette per week of these Pat McGrath palettes, that when that next Mothership does drop, that I'll be able to go through all of these videos that I'm creating to be able to look at that Mothership from an objective and logical standpoint, and really try to bypass that impulse that I have, that impulse that goes straight to instant gratification, and that I will be able to look objectively at that palette and understand I already have all those shades. I don't need it because I can already create all of these amazing, beautiful looks with what I have, and that I'll be able to resist making that purchase. Like I said, I just don't feel like I'm there yet. So keeping my fingers crossed that once these 7 weeks are done, and if a Mothership drops, that I'll be able to resist it. So let's go ahead and get into the looks that I created with the Pat McGrath Mothership II Sublime this week. On day 1, I used Blitz Emerald all over my eyelids. I obviously put some glitter glue on my eyelids and just rubbed it with my fingers all over my eyelids. And then took a blending brush and just buffed it out around the edge. And then I also used Astral Ghost Orchid. So another one of the goals with this project was to learn how to create everyday looks with these palettes. And I found myself though on the weekends creating the more over-the-top special event looks. I'm especially having fun creating looks for these YouTube videos. So it's another way in which I'm learning that I can use these palettes. I am having quite a bit of fun creating these more kind of over-the-top, for myself at least, looks from these palettes. Yeah, for day 2 I used Iconic, and then VR Nectar, again I just tapped my finger in it, kind of spread it all over my eyelid, and it was a very pretty look. It reminded me a lot of one of the looks I made with the Midnight Sun palette. Okay, for days 3 and 4 I used Rose Dusk all over my eyelids again, like I did the previous day with a blending brush. And then VR Nectar, again, just slightly tapping my finger in that and tapping that all over my eyelid. This has kind of become kind of a go-to look where I can use some of the special shades, but not have them just, you know, packed all over my eye, just to kind of swipe them just very lightly for just a small sparkle. On day 5, I started by buffing dark out all over my lid and above my crease, and then I added copper toned on top of that, and then Skin Show Glow to my inner corner, and I kind of dragged that up along to my brow bone like I always like to do. On day 6, which was probably my favorite look out of the palette, I did kind of do a fun eyeshadow Friday to wear to work, and I did dip into the Modern Renaissance mattes to kind of start with the base for this, and then I put glitter glue all over my eyelid and then just packed in this VR Nectar. You can really see the duochrome nature of this. It's beautiful. It's pink to gold duochrome, and yeah, I mean, it's not normally something that I would wear to work, but I felt fine. I didn't feel too glittery or too kind of out there. I really enjoyed the look. It was gorgeous. I'm glad that I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone and wore that to work. All right, for day 7, this is when I realized that I could kind of take a little movie to show how glittery and amazing these eyeshadows actually are, instead of just trying to capture it with photographs. And so I think from now on I'm going to do this if it works out okay. So for day 7, I did Bronze 005 with glitter glue all over the eyelid, with my finger just smeared it everywhere. Blitz Emerald Green on my lower lash, and then Astral Ghost Orchid on the inner corner, and I always kind of drag that up a little bit. So yeah, I think this look is beautiful. It's a little bit much for me to wear to work, but I would definitely wear this you know, maybe on the weekend to Walgreens or something like that, the dog park. So yeah, those were the looks that I created with the Pat McGrath Mothership II Sublime. So my conclusions, I realized that this palette is about 2 years old, and I could kind of tell with the performance of these 3. They blended out just fine, but there's staying power on my lids, which again, my lids are just kind of a war zone for eyeshadow. I have double hooded eyes and super crinkly eyes, and these just creased sooner. The other 2 palettes I used before this were pretty much brand new, so I can kind of tell that performance issue is creeping in. The special shades, no problem with those. Those are still amazing and beautiful, and So because of that, I think that I'm gonna try to use these as much as possible, because I would be so sad if those were to go to waste, because they are gorgeous colors, and I like how I was able to use them like as a matte, just kind of buffed out all over my eyelid, and just a little spot of glitter on top of those. So yeah, that gives me another thing to think about. So yeah, I really liked the everyday looks that I created with this palette. They were very similar to the looks that I created with the Mothership 6. Again, they were gorgeous, and I think I'm going to be able to get a lot of use out of that after this project is complete. So for my week 4 challenge, I will be using the Mothership III Subversive, and this is the one that I am least familiar with, and this is the one that made me realize, I just realized that this is the one where I kind of started becoming a collector, because I had the first 3, and then the Bronze Seduction came out and I got that, and then I just, even though I didn't feel like I needed this one before, once I got that Bronze Seduction, and I felt like there was a hole in my collection and I needed to fill it, even though I thought that I probably would never use this. It's gonna be difficult to come up with some looks to wear to work, but I did choose this one because I'm going to a concert on Thursday, and so I'm looking forward to creating a look for that concert. I may wear the one that I'm wearing right now. Right now I have this black metal smeared all over my eyelid with the violet, what is this one called? Blitz Amethyst. Blitz Amethyst all over my lid, and then Astral Ghost Orchid kind of in the center as a halo. I'm looking forward to using Gigabyte. It's kind of that dirty olive greenish gold that I love, because I'm not really into the super yellow golds. I like the golds to be more muted. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this matte works, because I think I'm going to be able to buff this matte out and get some good looks with that. I do have this one. It is called Night Creature. Ooh, all over my lower lids. We'll see how I fare at work with this palette. So that is it for this week. Thank you for tuning in and joining me. See you next week. Bye.
Open up, you OPN. Bitch, you won't be BM. We should be closer than friends.